It's a question that's not really been asked that much, and that's pretty much where have all the men gone. I mean, look at this graph. This shows the labor force participation rate in the US from the year that's 1950 all the way up to 2025. So, pretty much what has happened is the labor force participation rate, we're talking about a percentage of the working population who are actually either at work or looking for work. This is a more accurate figure than the unemployment rate because, for example, when you look at the unemployment rate right now in the US, for example, it's right about 4%, 3%. It's always been around those low single digit figures, but that's not an accurate depiction of what's actually happening in the economy. And a lot of economists have actually talked about the unreliability of the unemployment rate, and we all know it because, for example, in Kenya, they talk about the CBK points to the fact that the unemployment rate is at like 5%, 5.4% or something. But then when you look at the reality on the ground, we all know that there's no way that unemployment rate in Kenya is 5%. So it's the same thing that's happening in the US, and a more consistent figure for coming up with this analysis is to look at the labor force participation rate. So really, there's only from a high of like nearly 90 in the 50s, it's come all the way down, and it's really just barely above 65%, so around 66%. So a third of men have literally just disappeared from the workforce, and when we look at the other side of the aisle, for women, the labor force participation rate has actually increased from 30% all the way up to right about 60%. It topped off at 60%, came down. That's COVID over there. So pretty much we can say almost 60%, and that's really the reality of what has happened from the 50s all the way to today. And while I'm just using the US as an example of the economy because they have the data, you can't really find as in-depth data for these statistics here. But pretty much it's the same thing that has happened where the men have dropped out of the workforce and the women have really taken up so many of the roles.